I'm kicking off a new case study where I'm publishing 200,000 words in about 4 months. The articles are going to be about 1,000 words long, so we're talking roughly 200 articles as well. And I'm working with niche website builders. They are providing the content, helping me find some keywords, and we're working on it together. In this video, I'm going to tell you about the website in general. I'm not going to share the specific site, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about it and why I wanted to do this project with niche website builders. I will tell you how and why I published all the content in the first batch that they got over to me all on one day. And I'll also let you know how long it took for that to index. There's been a lot of talk about indexing issues with Google. Sometimes something's crawled on your website, but it's not indexed. So I'll let you know exactly how long it took for these articles to be indexed after they were crawled. And a little spoiler, not everything has been indexed yet, but I'll show you exactly what I see over on the Search Console. And there's a couple other little pieces I want to mention. I am recording podcast episodes about this case study as well, so we'll link that in the description. Plus, I am publishing blog post updates on a monthly basis over on Niche Website Builders, so please check those out as well. They all have a little bit different information, and if you want to look at some of the charts and graphs and some of the other information, you may want to look at the blog post, and of course, some people like the spoken word, the podcast. So check out all that other stuff, and let's go ahead and learn a little bit more about this website. Don't worry, I'm not going to play right now. The site has about 238 articles, at least when I first started the project here. I started the site in roughly July of 2020. So it's been around for a little while. And some of the history with the site is around just publishing content. So those 238 articles, the first 50 or so I published within the first month. They were about 50% informational and about 50% product reviews. I started working with niche website builders pretty much from the get-go. So they wrote about half of the 238 articles. And over time, I started to publish more informational content. So currently, at least of the 238, about 33% of it was product reviews and about 67%, the remainder, was informational. And basically, it took a little while to get out of the sandbox. So it was a brand new site, brand new domain, and I started publishing, and it took about 10 to 12 months before I was getting about 3,000 visitors per month or so. So a little while to get out of the sandbox and actually get some traffic, but kept pushing through, kept publishing content. In addition, in parallel, I worked again with niche website builders. That's why I wanted to partner with them again, is because they did a lot of the work on the site from the get-go. So initially, from a link building standpoint, in month number 1, they started with a shotgun skyscraper campaign, and we did that for about 6 months. We took the site from a DR, a domain rating from Ahrefs of 0, all the way to about 48. Over time, as I started to get more traffic on the site, natural links were showing up, pretty high authority links as well. So currently it's sitting in the low to mid 50s as far as a domain rating. As time went on, after the 10 to 12 months, traffic just slowly grew each month. So it's just been kind of trucking along. Now, monetization. I didn't start monetizing the site until roughly January, the end of January of 2022. From an Ezoic ad revenue standpoint, I always had some affiliate links over to Amazon, but it really wasn't earning that much, and essentially the traffic wasn't going to the pages that would convert over on Amazon. It's a little more competitive than I thought, and the sandbox period took a little while. After I got this feedback from the world that maybe these affiliate reviews weren't going to rank as well, at least not as quickly, I decided I'm just going to publish more informational content. So that's why I moved even further to more informational content, and it tended to rank a little bit better. Most of the traffic was going to those pages. So I published more and more of that content. I just kind of sat around, and honestly, I was a little bit lazy about monetizing the site. So I thought, I'm just going to keep publishing content, keep getting more traffic. And then in January of 2022, I finally decided that I was going to turn on Ezoic, and I could tell you a little bit about the earnings so far. So I just got it started at the end of January. So in February, that was the first full month, and the site earned about $623. And the EPMV, that's the earnings per 1,000 visitors, was about $13.30. In March, it was $662, and the EPMV in March was $13.06. Those are US dollars. And in April, in the middle of the month right now, but is tracking a little bit lower. So traffic is a little bit lower for other reasons, unknown reasons. And the April earnings, the projected April earnings, are going to be $555 if it continues the trend. And the EPMV is lower right now, about $11. So kind of significantly lower. And this is kind of a general information site. So I do expect the EPMV to be kind of, not super high. So I don't expect it to change a huge amount from here. I wouldn't be surprised if it moved up a little bit, but I'm not expecting anything crazy since it is sort of general information. That said, one interesting thing is there seem to be unlimited informational keywords. I've talked about this in some other videos, and I think this really shines through on this particular site. I don't think I'm ever going to run out. There's always a different take. There's always more questions. There's always more things coming up in this particular niche. And as I talk to more and more people, this is a common thing. You could find some niches that just have more informational keywords than you'll ever be able to get to. New ones are popping up all the time because people ask these types of questions. So one thing we need to look at is publishing all the content in one day. And I'm curious what your opinion is. Please leave a comment. Do you think it was a mistake to publish 47 articles all in one day, all in one swoop, and see what happens? Or should I have scheduled it out further? Let me know in the comments what you think of that decision and what you would have done, whether you agree or disagree. I definitely want to hear, and tell me in the comments. So let's hop over to the Search Console now. As you can see, we're looking at the Search Console here, and I mentioned before that I published all the content on one specific day. That was April 4th. So we're about a week out from that or so. And we see here that the traffic actually has dropped a little bit from the end of January. In February, there was a little seasonal component or something like that. And you could kind of see, if you look at the last few days over here, there looks to be like there's a little bit of an uptick as far as the number of impressions, the number of clicks, that's the blue line down below. It doesn't look like that's really moving up. It seems about even, and I'm pretty sure if I smooth this out, you wouldn't really notice anything. It would probably just be running even. So as we go, and eventually I'll show you how quickly it was indexed, when I looked on the Search Console the days after I published it, I didn't see anything. It looked like it wasn't picking it up. Now, one thing, I have a sitemap on my site, so that was updated, as soon as I published the content, and the sitemap was loaded and is acknowledged by the Search Console. So I know that Google should be able to find it there. And as I mentioned before, the site has quite a few backlinks. It's getting a decent amount of traffic, about 50 to 60,000 page views per month or so. So it's getting some love, nothing crazy, but it's getting some traffic. So I wasn't going to do anything out of the ordinary to try to get this indexed. I didn't load individual URLs to force index. I didn't do anything at all. I didn't share any of the content. I just wanted to publish it and see what happened. So after a few days and things updated, I was able to see that. Now, before I show you, I just want to kind of scroll down and show you a few of the other impressions based on specific URLs. So this is everything on the site. So as I scroll down here, you'll see I just put in one of the specific queries, and you can see there was a little bit, this is for something that I just published, by the way. So there was a little content on the specific topic, but not much, nothing targeted. I finally published something that was specific, and you could see I published the article on roughly April 4th here, and then immediately we see more impressions. Now, it's not a huge number, right? We're just talking about, 17 impressions or so at the peak. Maybe one person clicked on it. So we're not talking about changing the world here, but we see that within a couple days, it's already showing up on the SERPs. The average position for this particular URL is about 21.6. So here's another one here. This is, again, just getting like one click. There were a couple impressions incidentally in the past, and now it's getting a lot more impressions just within a couple days here. Same deal here. Now, this is something where, again, maybe there was seasonality or some viral component for this particular query, and all of a sudden we see there's a bit of a spike. Now I have a piece of content written specifically for this search term. And before it was just kind of random. There were a couple articles that mentioned it. And the average position here is 11.3. So this is very interesting. And this is representing, of course, a lot more impressions because it's a much bigger term just in general. So this is one that I have on my radar to maybe add a lot more content around it. As we move down, here's another one, same situation, and I just wanted to highlight a few that seem to be getting a little bit of traction, even in the short term, even within a couple days, getting a little traffic just because I published them. And finally, here is what we're looking at for the indexability of these articles. So I have 281 URLs that are available on my sitemap. And as I mentioned before, there were 238 articles before. We have 274 are valid. So about 8 are missing from the index right now. I think that's pretty good for the amount of time that has gone by. One thing that I'm going to do that I haven't done is I'm going to go ahead and put some more internal links to all of the articles that I just published. Some of those are going to be from like a category type page. Some of them are going to be from internal links from other articles. And just in general, I'm going to make sure everything does have a link going to it. I don't know. I haven't investigated, to be honest with you, which 8 articles are not indexed yet, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm about to publish another 150 articles or so in the next couple months. And if I run into any issues along the way, then I'm going to check it out. But in general, this seems pretty good to me. I published it on April the 4th. And if you look back on the graph here, April the 5th is when these showed up on the index. Now, when I looked on April 5th and April 8th and April 10th even, I didn't see the index reflecting that I published new content. It was still registering 238. So it took a few days for the index and the Search Console to update. So don't panic if you don't see it quite yet. Now, if you have a brand new site and things aren't indexing, that's another story. You may have to get out of the sandbox. You may have to get some backlinks. You may need more traffic. There's other things going on if you're in the sandbox. This site, it's coming up on 2 years old. It's getting some traffic. It's ranking for a lot of terms. Things are kind of trending up in a general direction. So I'm not expecting any issues with indexability on this particular site. But let me know what you think about publishing all this content in one day. Be sure to check out the podcasts that are recorded on this and the blog update. I'm going to be publishing things sort of in a staggered fashion. So everything has a little bit different. I'm covering a little bit of different information each time. So thanks for checking this out. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe. My name's Doug Cunnington. I blog over at Niche Site Project, and I work on these niche authority sites every now and then. Thanks to Niche Website Builders for working with me on this project. Be sure to check out some of these services that they have over there. I'm getting about 50,000 words of content per month, and they also have link building packages. They have guest posting packages. They have Haro. They have a service that helps you validate whether or not a age domain is a good one. They do due diligence for you. So a lot of cool services over there, and thanks to Niche Website Builders.